Hello, colleagues who have joined us recently, and thank you all who have been staying with us from the previous talk. It is a Quality Engineering Community Day 2023 that is conducted by Global Testing Community and Pro Quality Community. We are happy to see you all with us. Uh, so, uh, hope that you enjoyed with our intro video. I also want to mention that our session is being recorded and the recording will be available in the week after the session. Don't hesitate to leave your questions for our speakers in YouTube chat and community page. The most interesting question I will ask to our speakers this session. And let me introduce our next speaker. It is Uladzislau Shklianik with a
Hi
topic.
guys.
Hello, Uladzislau, with a topic client-side testing using Jest and Puppeteer. How's your mood today, Uladzislau?
I'm doing great. What about you?
Yeah, I'm also very love our conference. Uh, when did you decide to be a performance analyst in general?
Actually, around 5 years ago, while I was studying at university, employees from EPAM came to us with a lecture on performance testing, and they offered us the opportunity to take courses at EPAM. And I found this topic quite fascinating since it includes a range of areas such as analytics, programming, DevOps, and I decided to give it a go. I passed the course interviews, and now I'm here.
Sounds great. But do you have any things that inspire you in your work?
One thing I appreciate about my work is the significant amount of creative thinking it demands. Since, for example, when there is a bottleneck, some performance issue, it's necessary to gather data to form diverse hypotheses, then test them out, and you always need to think rather than following a single set scenario. And in addition, I find it fulfilling when resolving different performance issues results in more efficient applications. For example, one application will have faster response times, increased capacity. Such positive outcome of my work gives me a great sense of satisfaction.
Great. I hope that a lot of people will be inspired by your talk today. So, stage is yours. Go.
Okay, so today I'm going to talk. My name is Uladzislau Shklianik. I'm working as a lead performance analyst at EPAM. And today I'm going to talk about how to use Jest and Puppeteer to monitor client-side performance, how we got to use this solution, how to use LightHouse together with Jest and Puppeteer, and some real example of using these tools. So it all started when I came to a project where a solution for monitoring production client side was already developed before me. And this solution consisted of Jmeter. Very important point, it's not about performance testing. Jmeter was used only as a wrapper for Selenium scripts. So also this architecture included Selenium, WebDriver, and Chrome. All test results will were collected in InfluxDB and then visualized in Grafana. And the goal of this solution was to measure and monitor client-side performance for different applications in different locations, to monitor trends, to be able to identify degradations and take timely actions to fix them. Also important characteristics of this solution, tests are running for 24/7. Measurements are carried out from 10 plus locations, and there were more than 30 different scripts. So it's a lot of data, and all this data were visualized in Grafana. And this solution had one big disadvantage. Periodically, we saw significant gaps in measurements. And these gaps were caused by the fact that the browser was disconnected from Selenium and WebDriver. And we started to think how we can improve this solution. Maybe we can replace the tools. Maybe we can to use something else. And first of all, we identified requirements to our new solution, and they're the following: it should be able to send test results to InfluxDB. Since we would like to continue using our Grafana dashboards, it should be stable, since we should be able to run tests 24/7. Also, since we have a lot of scripts, more than 30 of them, to ensure that we have enough frequency of measurements, we needed to run tests in several threads. So the solution should be able to run tests in parallel. Also, since we had a lot of scripts, we needed opportunity to manage cookies, to be able to pass cookie from one script to another one, just to in order to not reach the limits in number of plugins. So, and then we conducted some research of various tools that would meet our requirements. Some of them didn't support sending test results to InfluxDB. Some of them didn't provide the possibility of parallel execution. And we decided to choose Jest and Puppeteer. And why? Jest has parallel test execution built in, which means it doesn't require additional configuration or packages to run tests in parallel, like Mocha or Jasmine. And Jest built-in parallel test execution is optimized for maximum efficiency and can automatically distribute test cases across multiple processes, significantly improving the execution speed. And Puppeteer provides a wide range of capabilities to control Chrome and has very good integration with Jest. And after studying these tools, we identified the following advantages of using them together. First of all, it's very easy to set up and install these tools. Jest allows to structure Puppeteer scripts in a very convenient way. Also, Jest allows to run tests in parallel, and also Jest has some additional built-in assertions which can be used to validate some conditions on the page, for example, to check that the page was loaded correctly or something else. So very useful feature. So, and let's look how to install and set up these tools together. First of all, we need to make sure that you have Node and npm installed on your machine. Then we need to install Jest and Puppeteer dependencies using npm install. And when all packages are installed, we can start configuring our project by creating config file jest.config.js. In this file, we need to specify environment class. Actually, there are already written ones and you can reuse them, but today I'm going to show you how to use a custom one, just to give you more understanding how it's working. Also, here we have test match parameter. It's a pattern to detect test files. We have test timeouts, and in global section, we can specify different global variables, which can be accessed within our tests. So then I created test folder. Actually, you can name it as you want. Just don't forget to update test match parameter in the config. Puppeteer environment. Here I created Puppeteer environment, which extends Node environment. It is a standard class provided by Jest. And when Jest runs your test, it creates a separate instance of this environment for each test file. So it means that it will, and this Puppeteer environment has some standard functions: setup, tear down, and handle test event. And these functions are called automatically, and you can add some custom code. For example, setup function will be called at the beginning of the testing. And here, for example, I created create page global function create page, which opens browser using Puppeteer. Also here we can configure a bit this browser. We can specify rather to run it in headless or not. We can define screen resolution. We can pass some additional browser arguments. And note notice how I access global variables which I defined in config file. To do it, I need to type this.global.variable name. So in the end, this function creates global page variable, which then will be used in our tests. And also we have teardown function. This function will be called at the end of the testing. And here, for example, we can close the browser if it's not already closed. So let's look. As a result, Jest for each test script will create a separate instance of Puppeteer environment. It means that we will have separate page variable. We will have separate browser for each test script, which is very convenient since such functionality allows you to isolate testing of your scripts from each other. So now let's look how to run your first script. I created blazedemo.js file in test folder. Here we have describe block. This block groups together several related tests. Also we have before all block. This block allows you to run some code before any test. For example, here I call in create page function, which I created in Puppeteer class. And this function starts the browser and then creates page variable which is reused in our tests. So, and test, it is one object for some action transaction just to isolate your logical business transactions. So, and how to run this one? We just need to type in console npx jest. It will find your script. It will show you some pretty output, how much time it took to complete the test, how many of them passed, and how many of them failed. So now let's look at what additional capabilities Jest and Puppeteer can provide to us. First of all, we have such called Jest globals. Such kind of functions or blocks can be used to structure your Puppeteer code. You already saw describe. Also, we have describe each. Here we can pass some table or list, and all the tests inside this block will be executed for each row in table or variable in list. We have before all, before each will be executed before each test in the describe block. Also, we have test each, after all, after each works in the same way. So Puppeteer API provides you a wide range of capabilities in controlling your Chrome browser. For example, you can open some page, you can wait until network will be idle, so it waits until all requests will be completed. You can hover on some element, you can click on some element, you can reload the page, you can take a screenshot, you can type some text in some field and introduce some delay to reproduce real human behavior. So very convenient. And most often when you open some page, you will need to wait till some condition, for example, some element will be visible. And to do it, you can use wait for selector. Here you need to specify CSS selector and then condition. For example, that visible true element should be visible. Also, you can do the same. You can do the same with XPath using wait for XPath function. Also, there is wait for navigation function, which allows to wait till the navigation event will be completed. For example, when your code makes some actions which triggers redirects or reloads the page, you can run this wait for navigation just to make sure that it will wait till the navigation will finish. So, Jest assertions. Again, Jest assertions allows you to check some condition, but very important note, Jest doesn't wait till the condition will be true. It just checks. If it's true, test will be marked as passed. If it's false, test will be marked as failed. And for example, we can get page title and to check that it's equal to some value. We can get some element using CSS selector and check that it's present on the page. It's not equal to null. Also, we can get text content of some element and then compare it with some substring to check if it contains such value or not. So, and if some assertion will fail, you will see such pretty output that expected one value, received another. So very convenient when you need to debug something. In addition, you can use some combination of Puppeteer weights and Jest assertions. And to use this combination, first of all, you need to install expect Puppeteer library, which provides the following capabilities. You can wait till some text will present on the page. To do it, you need to type expect, define the scope, its page, then type too much text content, and then specify the string which you're interested in. Also, you can specify timeout, how much time it should wait. Also, we can wait till some text will appear in some element by specifying exact selector of the element in too much element function. Also, we have toClick function, and this function clicks on some page, on some element, and if it fails for some reason, for example, the element wasn't fully loaded, you can this function will click again, and you can specify how much time it could click and what delay to use between these clicks. And very convenient functions which will significantly simplify your code since you don't need to write additional checks or conditions. So as I already said, one of our requirements was to send test results to InfluxDB. To do it, first of all, you need to install InfluxDB client using npm install, and then you need to create your configuration for InfluxDB. So we decided to use such structure just because it's not JSON, for example, just because it's easier to import the values using require statement. So, and here we use such structure which firstly search for the value in environment variables. If there are no such value, it will take default one. So when we created this config, here we need to specify URL, token, organization, and backend. Yeah, actually we're using InfluxDB 2 version. And then when you created the config, you can import the values in your Puppeteer environment using require statement. So we have configuration. Now we can start creating function to send and test results to InfluxDB. In the function, first of all, we need to open connection by providing URL and token to InfluxDB, and then we are getting write API to be able to write the point. Next step will be create the InfluxDB point by specifying measurement, field key, field value. Also, we can add some text, for example, name. Also, we can add some build, very convenient to track um, uh, the performance from build to build. Also, when the point is ready, we can write it using write point, and then we need to close the connection. So we have function for send and test results to InfluxDB. Now we need to call it somewhere. And for this purpose, we can use handle test event function. It's standard Jest function, which is executed automatically for different Jest events. And actually, Jest has a plenty of events like test started, test succeed, test failed, test done, and in different events we can get different data. For example, in test done we can get test duration, how much time it took to complete the test, and test name, which actually enough to send to InfluxDB. And here we're checking that event name is equal test done. We're checking that we can run send to InfluxDB. Then we convert in the value to integer. Then if it's not null, if it's real integer, we can send to InfluxDB by specifying measurement, field key, field value, and our tag test name. As a result, we will have such chain. We have test done just event, which triggers handle test event function, which in turn triggers send to InfluxDB function, and as a result, data in InfluxDB. Also, in addition, we can use LightHouse together with Jest and Puppeteer. First of all, we need to install LightHouse using npm install. And then I started by creating function which can be used. And here we need to import LightHouse, because since LightHouse 10 is Jest model, and in common JS dynamic import should be used. So here I'm importing LightHouse, then I'm importing a standard desktop configuration, then I'm modifying a bit this configuration by specifying what metrics it should save and what screen resolution to use. So on the next slide, we'll continue discussing this function. When all configuration are ready, we can actually run LightHouse by running await LightHouse. And here we need to specify URL, LightHouse options. LightHouse options are located in config file, and we decided to store it in such way just to have all browser configuration in one place. So also we are providing desktop configuration, desktop config, and then we need to pass our global page variable to allow LightHouse to run measurements in our browser in our page. So when LightHouse finish his measurements, it will save all test results to report variable, and then we are passing this variable to the next function, process LightHouse report. And this function will iterate over the LightHouse audits. We'll get only metrics which we specified in metrics to save variable. Then again converts our values to integer, then checks that we can run to InfluxDB, checks that it's not null, and then sends using send to InfluxDB function by providing measurement, field, tags, and so on. Also, we can add some additional printing to console in debug mode, just to debug some measurements and actions. So, and how to use it in your tests. In your test, you can just call run desktop function. It will automatically take a global page variable, our browser, and will run LightHouse measurements in this browser. And in this example, I also printed in console the values, and here we can look on LightHouse metrics like FCP, LCP, speed index, and so on. As a result, we have such chain. We are calling run test desktop function in our test, which run LightHouse audits, then gets test results and passes them to process LightHouse report function, which in turn sent to InfluxDB using appropriate function. So also, you can run Jest using different command line options. You can specify how much workers to use. You can specify some specific test files. You can specify some custom config file if you have several of them. Also, you can ask Jest to print output in JSON format. And for example, you can save this output to some file. As already said, we are monitoring our test results in Grafana, and in Grafana, for example, we can track transactions performance from build to build. We can query some trends. We can look at some line graphs. We can query some table graphs with metrics per transaction. So actually in Grafana, you can visualize whatever you want. And our new architecture consisted of Puppeteer, Jest, and Chrome. And in addition, we have opportunity to run LightHouse measurements. And again, test results are collected in InfluxDB and then visualized in Grafana. As a result, number of executions during the same period of time increased on 30%, and number of years decreased on 20% compared to our previous solution. And as a result, we succeed in reaching our goal. And in addition, we have opportunity to run LightHouse audits, and in theory, these scripts can be supported by developers, since right now it's just a code. So that's all from my side. I also prepared some useful links. Here you can find link to GitHub demo repository with all examples which I shared today. Also, you can read more about Jest globals, Jest assertions, Puppeteer API, and expect Puppeteer library. So thank you all.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Uladzislau, for your inspiring talk. Hope it will be useful for everyone who will see us, who will watch us. Let me check the questions from our auditory. Doesn't take to put your questions in our YouTube chat or community platform. And let's start from the first question. You said that there are already written environment classes. How to use them?
Yeah, one of the most popular is Jest-Puppeteer. To use it, you need to install some additional package. You can find the information about this package on official Jest site. And then you need to specify preset in configuration file in jest.config.js. And what this already written class provides you, actually, it will automatically launch browsers for your tests and closes them at the end. And for example, if the standard functionality is enough for you, you can easily use already written environment class. But if you need something extra, for example, to send metrics to InfluxDB, to make some additional analysis, to use LightHouse, it will be much easier to write a custom one.
Okay, sounds great. And the next question is from our auditory. How to save LightHouse report to HTML file?
Yeah, actually, it's very easy to do it. First of all, in LightHouse options, you need to specify output parameter HTML. So in my example, I printed the test results to JSON format. And when you will change this parameter, after that, using FS package, you can save the content of this report to a file, HTML file, and then you can easily open it in the browser and check it there.
I assume that depends how you want to use your reporting.
Yeah,
in
you
general.
can. Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to see HTML or do you want to export or import such JSON files in any other reporting system?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
go
There are a
ahead.
lot of opportunities.
Yeah. Okay. And next question that I see, how to set the number of iterations at startup so that the tests are repeated a certain number of times?
So you can achieve it in many ways. As I already said, there is describe each or test each blocks, which allows you to run the test for set of data. Also, you can, for example, use some bash or shell scripts, and you can put npx jest command in a loop and run it in such way. Also, you can use JavaScript loops inside the describe block and to iterate your tests as much as you need.
Okay, got it. So that's probably it in case of questions. So I don't see any, but you still have an ability to join us in our Discord and ask some specific questions that you're interested in to our speaker. So let's do it. And of course, don't hesitate to put your like under this video. Enjoy next talk and hope to see you later. Yeah, stay tuned with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.